Welcome back to the Vinyl Word Podcast. As always, I'm Steve Beach.
And I'm Brian Mayer. Hello.
And this is Season 2, Episode 1. I'm so excited. Season 2. It just sounds weird to say.
Well, don't worry. I mean, like, new records, same idiots.
Right,
so,
exactly.
Like, we haven't changed.
Right. It is, but still, it's just, it's cool to think we're just starting a whole new season this time. But
yeah.
But if you're new listening, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
If you're resuming listening to us from last year,
what's
thank
wrong
you
with
also.
you?
I know. Don't you have other more important things to do? No, we do appreciate you listening to us. As always, have you listening, if it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever, be sure and subscribe. Because unfortunately, we don't put out episodes on a regular basis like some professional people do because we have full-time jobs.
Yeah. We are, this is a get-to, not a got-to for us.
Right.
We're not trying to get rich doing this.
Right.
We're just trying to remind people that there are some utterly bizarre records in the world.
Yes.
And they deserve to be mocked.
Right. Yeah. So we do put out about probably 2 to 3 episodes a month. So somewhat regular basis. So like I said, subscribe so you can get notified of that. And as always, you can follow us on Facebook as well, The Vinyl Word. So speaking of records, we have an interesting one that we looked at a few months back. Found this whole Hear How series. So we did the one about bowling. So this one is another one in the series called Hear How to Plan the Perfect Dinner Party with Gaynor and Dorothy Maddox.
Yep.
I have no clue who they are.
Yeah, Steve did some research trying to find them and was woefully unsuccessful.
I didn't find much.
This record purports to teach the listener how to prepare and host an excellent dinner party. There are going to be various themes and types of meals. The first one is going to be a good old American meal with steak and macaroni and cheese. The second one is going to be a oolali, right? The Polynesian
oolali or something. Yeah, she says.
It's a Hawaiian / Polynesian / we don't care enough about the respect of the original ethnicity to actually say what they are. We're just going to lump all of these ones together. Yeah, you're going to hear Polynesian, you're going to hear Hawaiian, and then you're going to hear some
Chinese maybe in there too.
Yeah, there's a little bit of everything just sort of brought together, but it's so much fun. The rapport, I actually enjoy listening to this record. Dorothy and Gaynor, which they actually have a fun rapport. Some of these records we've listened to, specifically Stan the Man, there was just sort of a dry, you could tell that they were reading scripts.
Right.
And you could almost hear that they were in separate rooms doing it. There was not a lot of natural
camaraderie.
Interaction between. But you do hear some of that in this one. And because of that, this record is easier to listen to, which is a very kind of nice change of pace.
It is. When some ones are, by the time we're done, we're like, whew, glad that's over.
Yeah.
But this one was, I would agree. It's a little interesting to listen to. And since we're talking about the perfect dinner party, Brian, I thought I'd have a spread before us.
What we certainly do.
So we have, some fancy barbecue chips, some elegant Cheetos puffs.
Yep, and we have a lovely cream cheese spread with looks like 14 other kinds of cheese in there.
Yeah, in a cheap plastic bowl.
But that's perfect. And yes, and then the Cheetos, which came from a lovely factory where they were handmade on an assembly line.
Handmade in a factory.
Yep. Exactly. So if you hear some crinkling or some crunching every now and then, it's because we're hungry.
We're just eating snacks.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, Steve, are you ready?
Yep, with that.
All right. Let's drop the needle and get this started.
Let's have a dinner party for 6.
Whoa. This is a family meal, buddy.
Food that seems like what
I think he said
folks call
6,
homey,
like the number.
without frills. But tastes
I knew
far
that.
better.
Okay.
Actually quite deluxe in a nice neighborly American way. A gourmet meal that transforms the familiar into a new experience.
Something
You
unfamiliar.
mean my special steak
American
dinner?
I
gourmet, like
certainly
fancy
do. That
pizza
amazing
or French
charcoal
fries with
steak
chili
broiled
on
on
top?
top of the
Right.
stove in a heavy iron pan. And Ruth Patterson's North Carolina
because when I
macaroni
think
and
of
cheese.
mac and cheese, I think of Ruth Patterson.
And still
Well, there's no
more
other
cheese.
name to think of.
And that fresh vegetable platter
on
that
Kraft?
looks like
Right.
an artist's palette with its
He
vigorous
wishes he was
outdoor
Ruth
color.
Patterson.
Your mixed salad. So simple, apparently, but actually a combination of various shades of green and contrasting textures. And, of course, your French dressing that everybody wants. But let's start at the beginning. Hors d'oeuvre, lots of them.
Yes, lots of them. Actually, we often use them as a
Hors
first
d'oeuvres,
course,
bacon-wrapped asparagus,
served in the
fried
living
pickles.
room on an uncrowded coffee table. That
Wouldn't an
saves
uncrowded
having to
coffee
clear off
table
the
be like
dishes from a
no one
first
sitting
course
there?
table.
Yeah, that's
And
exactly
it helps
what it
keep
would
the
be.
hostess cool. And a cool hostess is a better hostess.
She's so
always.
cool.
Okay, cool hostess. Give with your cool hors d'oeuvre.
But there should be at least one
Steve, are
hot
you getting
appetizer, like
mildly
Brussels
effeminate
sprouts wrapped in
heterosexual from
sizzling
SNL
bacon.
vibes?
But cold.
I'm not thinking that
All
at
right,
all,
don't be
Brian.
impatient.
Not
He's not
impatient,
gay.
just hungry. I'd like some of those marinated artichoke hearts right this minute. Made of canned artichoke hearts packed in brine,
Right
drained,
this minute.
and then marinated for several hours in oil, lemon juice, and a pinch of herbs and salt and pepper. Now
Then you
there
push it.
is a man-sized bite.
Push it real
And very
good.
easy,
Man-sized
really.
bite.
You
I bet
serve
he's
them
had plenty of
chilled on
those,
food
Steve.
picks. Canned
Because he
mushroom
knows
caps
food.
can be marinated also. And soak in tiny canned shrimp in the same oil and lemon juice dressing. All of these can be prepared in the morning. That's always a help for the hostess on her own.
Great. But I like your red caviar combination most.
Okay.
You mean a bowl
Red
of red
caviar?
caviar,
It-
another
it-
bowl
it
of
is-
finely
red
chopped
caviar?
green onions,
Were
and another of
middle-class people
commercial
in the
sour
50s
cream,
eating
and a
caviar for
basket
their
with thinly
parties,
sliced
Steve?
salty rye
I
bread.
Let
wasn't.
me give the know-how.
I don't remember
Take
my
a slice
parents
of
eating
that salty
caviar.
rye,
Wow.
and a spoonful of that tangy caviar, sprinkle some of the green onion over it,
That
and
calls for a
top with a
Cheeto.
dollop of smooth, cool sour cream. Do it once, do it twice.
3 times a
over and
lady.
over again.
Not too many times, please. We have a hot hors d'oeuvre, too, remember? Frozen Brussels sprouts,
could I
firm
forget?
and not too large, thawed. Strips of bacon cut in half. Roll 1/2 strip of bacon around each sprout
So you
and
wrap
secure
bacon
with
around
food
with
pick.
bacon?
Then bake in hot
Yes,
oven
it's
for
double
40
bacon.
minutes.
That's
Serve
everything tastes better
piping.
with bacon.
Right,
They
even
are
bacon.
good.
Right.
And I like that raw
By the way,
relish
get
tray.
used to
It
hearing
seems to
bacon
sparkle
in these
with zest.
recipes.
Cucumber sticks, spears of endive, carrot sticks, celery.
And radish roses and ripe olives and green ones, too. That monkey wood tray with the sections that we
Bright
bought
red
in
as a
Hawaii
baboon's
is
butt.
perfect to serve them in. Lovely wood tones of the dish with the bright, fresh colors of the garden.
And a blessing for Weight Watchers, too. Almost no calories.
He doesn't like
Calorie-conscious
fatties.
guests will bless you.
No, Steve.
I'm
They want to
sad.
save their calories for the
sorry.
steak and
I'll sneak
macaroni.
you in.
So now let's move on to the dining room. We've had our first course, unhurried, beautiful to look at, tempting, and interesting.
Is he talking
And
about
while
the
the guests
meal or
were enjoying
himself?
themselves, the hostess on her own slipped
I got a
quickly
feeling
to
it's
the
just
kitchen
him.
and
Right.
took a look at the
And there's
macaroni
food,
and cheese
too.
casserole and put the steak on. Oh, that magic steak. I can broil a steak outdoors over charcoal, but your steak
Tastes like
in an
fast
iron pan
food.
on top of the stove. Sure, it's magic. No one believes
Really,
it. I mean,
Dorothy.
till they taste it. A charcoal broiled steak in a little old pan. Go on and tell them.
Well, your butcher
Do it
is
now.
almost as important in this as the steak.
Are you asking the butcher to dinner?
No,
Yes, he's
but I'm
meatier
asking
than
him
you.
to trim every
Steve, do you
last
get the
nitch
impression
of
that she
fat off
really
the meat.
wants this butcher's
For
meat?
6
I
guests,
do.
buy a piece
Okay.
of boneless
So it's
top
not just me.
sirloin
No.
or top round, at least 1.5 inches thick, weighing around 4.5 pounds. Ask him to use his sharpest knife
Oh.
and painstakingly strip every bit of fat
Oh,
off
I
the
thought you were
steak.
going to say clothes.
When you get it home, go over it again. No fat. No fat.
We get it. You
Can't
don't
repeat
like
that
me.
warning too many times.
Steve,
And
it's
also,
okay.
if you
They're
refrigerate
dead.
your steak,
True.
take it out at least 1/2 an hour before cooking. Chilled meat doesn't broil well.
Now let's get
Steve,
to the
that
cooking.
applies to
I can't
multiple
stand
rooms.
hungry suspense.
Patience is good seasoning for a leisurely dinner, remember? The pan, that comes next. A good, old-fashioned, country-style, heavy iron frying pan.
You sound like the farmer's wife.
Put the pan over high heat on top of the stove to get thoroughly
Did you just
hot.
feel a cold
Sprinkle
draft?
it with garlic.
There was a cold
onions.
draft and a couple of birds
Salt
flying
with
by, I
slowly
think.
turned charcoal brown.
How about regular salt?
No, it won't char like garlic or onion salt. While the pan is getting hot, season the steak with garlic or onion salt and freshly ground black pepper. Do this as long before cooking as possible. The steak
Years.
gets better seasoned this way.
Okay, now we're ready for the big moment. Let's go.
Plunk
Ta-da!
that thick, fat-trimmed, seasoned steak onto
No.
the searing pan.
I
Cook
think it's
for
a chef's
10
way of
minutes on
saying,
one
sit your
side.
rump roast down
Then
and shut
turn
up,
and cook
Gaynor.
on other side until it is right for your guests. Very rare, medium, or even well done if some of them like it that way.
Oh, no, not well done, please.
Remember,
Oh,
you're the
no.
host. A good
it's a
host
little
caters to
performative
each
by
guest,
Gaynor
even though he
here.
A
doesn't
little.
like his taste.
Even so, not well done, please. Give him pot roast instead.
Never interrupt
You got that
the
lying
cook.
around.
With a sharp knife, cut into the center of the steak to test for doneness.
Doneness?
Next, cut it
Doneness.
across the
She's just
grain
making up
into
her own
thin
words.
slices.
We have to
Arrange
be.
those
We have to have
succulent,
compassionativity for
charcoal-tasting
her, Steve.
slices on a hot, oven-proof platter. And on the hot platter, have a sauce of melted butter and a few drops of Worcestershire sauce.
I love
Rush to the
Worcestershire.
table, and the fun begins.
Let's add
Sauce.
a little
That
warning.
stuff is great.
That sauce.
Yeah.
Room,
That
remember.
British one. That's what I
Before
call
you
it.
Yes, the
start
British
pan
one.
broiling, make certain your kitchen is perfectly ventilated, either with a mechanical ventilator or
Or a
strong
window.
current.
Right.
The steak will
Yeah,
smoke
perfect
like any other
ventilation
meat
in the
cooked over
50s would have
charcoal.
been a
So be
window with a
forewarned.
giant
Have a perfect
metal fan.
ventilation system
Yes.
in your kitchen.
Yeah.
All metal,
No
by
guest
the
like
way.
to see
Yeah, we
the
had one of
smoke
those
gets in
growing
your
up.
eyes
Yeah.
while eating. Now on
Like, it
with the
sounds like a
dinner.
jet
Bring on
engine.
that casserole of macaroni.
Well, that's really a lordly dish. Use a 2.5
Let's not
quart
oversell
casserole
mac
for
and
1
cheese,
pound
Dorothy.
of macaroni. And remember, it's been in the oven for about half an hour while the guests were still making merry with the tidbits.
That's
Use
what happened after the
Italian-type
alcohol.
macaroni called ziti, Z-I-T-I, number 2. Pieces about
Was
2
mac and
inches
cheese
long
new in
and
the
1/4
50s?
inch thick.
It was made in the
Cook it in
1700s, I think.
salted boiling water until just undercooked, al dente, as they say. Drain it. Don't rinse it with water, but put a piece of butter in the center and shake so that the butter melts and coats all the pieces to prevent sticking. Turn it into a large mixing bowl and have milk and 2 eggs and a
cookies.
cup of cream, lots of freshly grated Parmesan cheese. Use the canned grated if you haven't time to grate the fresh.
Okay.
Lots of grated American cheese and a package of thin slices of cheddar.
Okay, now do your stuff.
Dang, he's
The
bossy.
eggs, add about a half cup of milk or a whole cup of milk. Pour over the macaroni and bowl. Mix all well. Then place a layer of the macaroni in greased casserole. Sprinkle prodigally with the Parmesan and American
Prodigally?
cheese and slices
Prodigally.
of the cheddar torn
Like
into
the
fairly
prodigal
large pieces.
son?
Now another layer of macaroni. Then more of the same
I
cheese.
think she
then
means
more
prodigiously.
macaroni.
Begins
Maybe.
to sound like Gremlin's cheesy mountain.
Yeah.
It
and
is
Steve,
a
at the
dream
end of
dish.
this, you can
Over
also
the top
sprinkle
and final
shredded
layer
cheddar
of
over the top.
macaroni. Place
It's
wide
like a golden
slices
shower
of the cheddar, like a golden
cheese.
awning over all. Finally, sprinkle seasoned breadcrumbs. You
Okay.
can buy them all ready to use.
Or you can just wipe
Over
them off the
top
table after
slices
your
of
kids have
cheese.
eaten.
Yeah,
The
that's true.
casserole
That's
must
usually
be
where I
wet.
find
The
breadcrumbs.
cheese
Oh,
abundant.
When it is baked for half an hour at least, those crumbs on top turn brown and the dish is moist and creamy. It's time now for the garden tour.
He must
Those
like bread.
beautiful fresh vegetables on a round glazed plate. A brown plate, if you have one.
If
Gives
not,
the
spray
snow-white
painted.
cauliflower,
Lead-based
the
paint's
golden
really cheap
carrots,
right
and the
now.
deep
Yep.
green beans, a handsome background.
And keep the vegetables a little on the undercooked side. Serve the long beans whole, not sliced. Steam or boil all 3 vegetables in very little water. Drain
In
them
fact,
at once.
no water.
Place the
Just some
large head of
mist.
snowy cauliflower in the center. Arrange carrots with freshly chopped dill or parsley and the green beans around it. Pour a little melted butter and lemon juice over them just as you swing the dish onto the table.
Don't
Swing
forget
it.
to mention the
Here's
large
catch.
flat serving spoon. Oh, I beg your pardon for butting in.
No need
Oh,
to.
now he
In a
apologizes?
servantless house, both husband and wife should work together when giving a dinner party. Together, but with hushed efficiency.
How about
Hushed
a little
efficiency
loving
also
kindness, too?
translates
Why
to
not?
shut
Nothing
up,
gives a party a
Gaylor.
better atmosphere. Good bread helps, too.
Oh, I agree.
We
Often
missed
a
it,
dinner
but she
is
also
ruined
said
by poor
cauliflower,
coffee and
which
dull
is a
bread.
telltale
There are so
sign that
many
she's from
interesting
California.
breads in the market. Rolls, either crisp or soft, seeded or plain, long ones and short ones, and of course those loaves of French or Italian
Always
bread
talk about
that get
bread.
even
Makes me
crisper
think
when
of
heated.
that
And if
band
you're lucky,
Bread from the 70s.
those unsurpassed genuine French rolls, the
baby,
kind
it's
you
the
get
gay
in France.
Norman.
Vive la France.
That's a
Let's
deep
settle
cut,
for a
Steve.
little
I
I'm
know,
bake
here
shop.
for
I
it.
know.
You're becoming poetical.
What's
Like we
wrong
once
with that?
French
Isn't
bread
a
from
perfect
French
dinner a
bakeries,
poem in
not
human value?
Portuguese rolls you get from
Particularly,
Senegal.
I'd say, if the salad is good. Tender Boston lettuce, firm romaine leaves, a little
Those
slightly
Bostonians
bitter
and Romans
escarole,
really get along together.
and perhaps
Oh,
a
yeah,
few
man,
spears
they're
of
peas in a
endive or
pod.
limestone lettuce. Then my salad dressing. Very simple, really. Oil, part
just
olive
open the
oil and part
bottle.
vegetable oil. Lemon juice
Get it
or
at the
wine
store,
vinegar,
pour it in the
salt,
salad.
freshly ground black pepper, a dash of cayenne, maybe a drop of Worcestershire, and either a
There's
clove
that
of garlic or garlic
Worcestershire.
clove for those who
British
like it.
stuff.
Or
First, you put the
Chestershire.
spices in a cup. Add lemon juice or vinegar, and then add oil. Use about 3 parts of oil to 1 part lemon juice or vinegar. Shake well in a bottle and shake again just before pouring over the scrupulously
Shake, shake,
cleaned
shake.
and chilled greens. After a heavy meal, and ours is heavy in a happy way,
Yeah,
such a
not like
salad
you,
is as
Steve.
refreshing as a May morning.
Shut up.
Now who's getting poetical?
Both of us, I guess. And why not?
Poetical?
Thinking of the
There's another
raspberries
one.
over lemon
Yeah.
sherbet
That's
we'll
a
have
Little
for
Rascals
dessert.
reference, I
It's
think,
a
on their
perfect
part.
dessert for this
You're
kind of
so
dinner. Perfect for the
poetical.
hostess, too. No last-minute running around. You can get excellent fruit sherbets in the supermarkets these days, and fine frozen raspberries.
Lovely picture. A gleaming crystal sherbet glass, A mound of
Sherbet
translucent
glasses?
lemon
Not in
or
a
perhaps
styrofoam
pineapple
cup?
sherbet.
Not in a
Fragrant
bowl.
ruby berries
They
sliding
have
down
specialized
the mountain. Wait till you
everything.
taste it and see.
Japanese
I think
butchers,
that
French
thin,
bakeries,
leaf-shaped
Chinese groceries,
chocolate-coated
Canadian
cookies
vegetable
go well
stands,
with a sherbet
Egyptian
and fruit.
liquor
French
stores.
bakeries
It's a good
always have
American
them.
meal.
So do many bakery
Yep.
counters.
Coffee, coffee, coffee.
Shut up,
Don't
shut up,
rush me.
shut up.
Yes, very strong,
Did he
clear
suddenly
coffee.
have a stroke?
Use at least half
No,
as much
sounds like
again
it.
as you measured out to make your breakfast coffee. Large cups or small cups, better
Or
have
no
both
cups.
ready, so
Just
that
pour
each
it in their
guest can
mouth.
have the kind he prefers. The
Like those
only
college
rule
parties.
is as you like it.
Of course,
Do urn
many of our
stands.
friends may like wine with their dinner. It's a growing custom in the United States, and a very pleasant one. With the dinner we are describing, a good French red Bordeaux or a French Burgundy would go right
Did he
well
say
to
Ron
the meal.
Burgundy?
Or a domestic red wine,
stay
but a
classy,
carefully chosen
Gaynor.
one. Or a rosé, domestic or imported, chilled but not iced. Just a word of caution.
Okay, Steve, we'll
All
talk about this
rosé
later, but
wines are
alcohol is
equally
not a
good.
new thing
That
to
is a
America.
popular
No, it isn't.
misconception. So experiment with the rosés. In fact, with all your wines, you're
Experiment.
selecting
Wear
them
white
with the
coats,
same
carry
care
Bunsen
you select
burners.
your meats and vegetables. Often you will find your local wine and liquor dealer can give you good practical advice on
He
what
can
wines
probably
to
tell you
serve
some
with
good
different
stories from
dinners.
prison, too.
But now it's
Yeah,
time
if you're
for
going to
coffee.
your dealer.
Where will you
Right.
serve it? In the living room? That's always pleasant.
Well, I have found that at a party when the host and hostess do all the
Oh,
work,
hostess.
coffee
I
served
bet
at
he
the
loves
dinner
hostess
table is
ding-dongs.
more practical.
I bet they both
Means
do.
one less operation. And what's wrong with lingering around the table a little longer?
Did you have
Well-fed,
to
congenial
let it
friends
linger?
usually enjoy it.
Well, there's our
I
dinner.
miss her already.
Now push
Cranberries,
back
too.
from the
I know.
table, wander into the living room, and relax in contentment.
Aren't the guests supposed to talk?
Don't worry about that.
No.
They will
We
discuss your
have ball
steak for
games
at
for
least
all of
20
them.
minutes and the macaroni for 10 more. Then they will confess bewilderment, but flattering bewilderment, over the lilting ease with which you manage this dinner.
Should I blush?
Nonsense.
Yes.
Just say thank you and tell them the secret. A desire to give
After
friends
the way
a
your steak
carefree,
turned out,
amiable,
you should be
few,
ashamed.
well-fed hours together, with carefully selected food, absence of confusion, and the fun of having
Absence
a
of
good time at
confusion.
your own dinner
Isn't there a
party.
better way to say
Please
that,
come
Steve?
again.
Clarity.
Yes, that is the
Yeah,
very
that's the exact
definition.
opposite.
Let's have some fun. Let's invite our friends to a Polynesian winding.
I hate using
a
that
beautiful
wingdings
dinner with a
font.
tropical
No,
accent.
no one likes
a
it.
hula li, as they say in Hawaii.
And we all wear leis about our necks and sit on the floor on mats and eat poi with our fingers and roast pig.
Nope, that's not
so fast,
racist
my
enough,
dear.
Dorothy.
Lays about our necks, yes, but we don't go native. That's fine
Maybe
in
you
Hawaii,
should.
but we live on the mainland.
Jeez.
Let's settle for a dinner we can manage
I'm just gonna leave it
ourselves,
alone.
but give it a haunting Polynesian appeal.
Can I wear a grass skirt?
Must you?
Well, not if you object.
Well,
But
I
we'll
was
make
going
the
to wear
table
it.
look as lush and
I think he
beautiful
was.
as those seductive girls in the islands. A long table with a deep green cloth or a Samoan tapa covered
I
with
think that's his
ferns
name
and
anyway.
green leaves, and lots of bright flowers scattered over it.
And shirtless
bowls
men
of monkey
dancing with
pod bread
fire.
or calabash.
Oh, we need those.
Lovely?
Lovely. And in the center, a bank of brilliantly colored fruits, if you can get them. Bananas, persimmons, avocado,
Persimmons?
pomegranates,
Are those
and
tropical?
pineapple.
They grow
And
in
vivid
Indiana.
green
That's what I
peppers.
thought.
I'd add a shaggy coconut, but let's see.
Shaggy coconuts.
Boo-boos, of
Row,
course,
row, Reggie.
peppers.
Coconuts.
Boo-boos, those Polynesian hors d'oeuvres
So much
on a
better
big
than my
lazy
joke,
soup.
thank you.
Things like chicken livers with water chestnuts wrapped in bacon, baked diced clams with sesame seeds, glazed spare ribs
Can
with
you
pineapple
tell me
chunks
how
and
to
kumquats over them.
how to get
Do we
some
need more?
sesame
Yes,
seeds?
those startling large shrimp in coconut.
And then,
Want chicken, Mommy? It's spectacular. Chicken breasts in half, a pineapple, not difficult.
me, I like the chicken better in a genuine Hawaiian curry sauce.
The one with coconut your old Hawaiian friend taught you?
My old Hawaiian friend, yes. She was a very
Or as
large woman.
she called
wore
him,
a flowing
the
gown
whore.
and was never without a flower in her hair.
Well, because this is to be a wing ding of a hula li, let's have both.
You won't be overworked getting them ready?
You promised to help.
I'll strum the ukulele to you while you
Men
work.
sit,
I'll
women
settle
cook.
for a little
That's how it works in the
kitchen
50s,
I'll
Dorothy.
make
Get
the
used to
curry
it.
then.
Yeah.
You make the chicken momi. You see, I don't want my lovely wife to get overtired or frantic. You must greet the guests smiling and relaxed, like
As
a
if
hula
you've done
dancer.
nothing all day.
We'll do our dancing in the kitchen.
In a grass skirt
No, in an apron.
with flour in
And
your hair.
nothing else,
You have
Gaynor.
bewitched me. I'll make those chicken livers too and have them ready for last-minute broiling.
The Polynesians call them ramaki.
Which is
we'll
Polynesian
need 6
for
chicken
white
livers
people will
and
eat
18 water
anything.
chestnuts to make enough.
And 18 strips of bacon, don't forget, and 9 long
18
onions.
strips.
A little ground
That's
ginger
not enough
and a
bacon.
spot of
You
curry.
get the feeling they either
Half a
really
cup of
like
soy
or
sauce,
really
too,
hate
at
their
least.
guests.
Well,
You
start
need more
swinging.
bacon,
The dinner
dear.
music has started.
Cut those livers, fresh or frozen, into 3 pieces. Wrap each lovingly around a water chestnut.
Where do we get the chestnut?
Most
where do you get
supermarkets carry them
chestnuts?
nowadays.
Well, you get them
The
off
same
your
goes
chest,
for the
I think?
kumquats and
Oh, okay.
macadamia nuts and soy sauce. Most everything needed can be found in a modern supermarket.
Who's going
or
to
in a
ancient
Chinese
supermarkets?
grocery.
Do they sell hula dancers, too?
Don't be childish.
They don't
You're
sell
the
hula dancers
dancer.
anymore.
And
They
you're
got
so
busted for human
charming that I go
trafficking.
right on with the rumaki. Around the chicken liver and chestnut, wrap a strip of bacon and a green onion sliced lengthwise, fixing it with a food pick.
Just like a baby shish kebab.
Yes, a little. Plop them into the soy
He's just
sauce
a little
and stir in
guy.
a touch of ginger and curry powder. Marinate them in this sauce for at least an hour. After that, drain, place on a cookie sheet with a rim, and broil
Do
for
cookie
about
sheets
5
not
minutes.
have rims?
How about last-minute grilling over a little hibachi on the table?
That's part of the fun.
It's not the size of the
Stack of
hibachi.
long bamboo sticks
No,
on the
it's
table.
not the important part.
Each
It's just
guest
gotta get
spears
hot.
a rumaki on a
So,
stick,
Dorothy,
then holds
ease
it for
down.
a few seconds over the glowing fire on the hibachi.
Is our little hibachi big
She's
enough?
mean.
Tina? Yes. Put a can of sterno in the bottom, ignite it, and then add a little charcoal. You get a bed of glowing coals. The guests will have a big time grilling their own rumaki. It's a bit of stage business.
Always
It gives
trust
the party a
professionals
touch
with
of the
fire.
dramatic.
Right.
Will you ever
Your
a movie
ramaki will look
director?
Stick to
fabulous!
the hula. And the clams with sesame seeds and the spare ribs. Marinate them first in oil, garlic, ginger, and soy. Then broil. Serve covered with small pieces of pineapples and kumquats and syrup.
I'm sorry,
No
what was that
sauce to
last
dip
one?
in?
I don't
Yes,
know.
sweet and sour, often called duck sauce.
Duck sauce?
Made of apricots and plums. You can buy it at a Chinese grocery, maybe at some supermarkets too.
How about those clams with sesame seeds and those outside shrimp?
I'm sorry, is
They're on
she
the
saying
Lady
that he
Susan,
got
too.
clams in Hawaii?
Put all the poo-poos in dishes
maybe she
around the
means
Lady
crabs?
Susan and put the hibachi right in the middle.
As you would say, that's quite a production. Gives our guests a lot of fun.
And a lot of fine food. Now let's talk about my Hawaiian curry.
I still like my chicken mummy better than your curry.
Okay, then you talk about that. I'll prepare the pineapples
I
for you.
think I just saw
Cut
2
them in
birds
half
fly by.
lengthwise.
Yeah.
Take out the core and the pineapple meat. Cut it in chunks and use those chunks as a bed for the chicken
He's
breast.
such a
You're really
romantic
helpful.
talking about meaty
now
chunks.
for those tender little white breasts. You can buy them at many butchers who sell parts. Allow one for each guest. Make a stuffing of veal and pork and slices of white bread soaked in cream, and onion and eggs and soy sauce and ginger and
Ginger.
monosodium.
I think it's his other girlfriend.
Put it through the meat
That's
chopper
Bob.
together.
Oh.
Then mix in some roughly chopped water chestnuts. That's your stuffing, and it's some wonderful stuffing. Then press it into the chicken breast.
That stuffing sounds like a meal.
But you don't use much. Now salt the breasts and sprinkle with oil. Place in shallow
Brian.
pan
Okay,
and
I
bake in
won't.
buttered oven for about
I'm
35
trying
minutes.
so
Slice
hard.
each cooked
know.
breast into 4 pieces.
There's so
Press the
much
pieces
talk about
together and
breasts
place
in
on
this
the bed of
specific
pineapple
section.
chunks in the shell.
Let me finish. You're getting out of breath.
Are Hawaiian men as thoughtful as you?
Their women seem to like them.
Yeah.
So
For
do
a
the
little
guys.
glazing. Spread a teaspoon of honey over each sautéed breast and glaze again with a teaspoon of chicken gravy. You can buy it in cans if necessary. Then sprinkle top with sesame seeds. Place in a very hot oven until some of the seeds
I
turn
like how the
brown.
temperature
It's
is
as
very
beautiful
hot.
as a tropical sunset.
And
Really
lots more
allows you
nourishing.
to do
My
the
curry
same.
sauce is a masterpiece, too.
That woman from Hawaii, I remember.
It's made of milk.
I bet she
grated
does.
coconut,
Yeah, she
garlic,
certainly
ginger root,
does.
butter, onion, curry powder,
Oh,
brown sugar, and
That
flour.
woman's name was Norman.
Can't you smell the aroma? Just picture large pieces of white meat of chicken being embraced by that tantalizing sauce.
You're getting yourself into a romantic mood. What with that big woman with a flower in her hair, Hawaiian sunsets, hula, and now this curry.
I've never known you to object to romance.
Oh, I'm
I
not
wonder who that
objecting.
Hawaiian woman really
And
was.
right, each kernel
I think it was
white
Julia
is separate.
Child, honestly.
That
When he
goes
was a
with the
little
curry.
drunk.
Yeah,
A lot of
I know.
He thought she was Hawaiian.
Chinese soup
Right.
bowls,
He was like,
perhaps.
oh, can oil such a
Sprinkle over the
cheese.
curried chicken.
Massaging
Isn't
your
that right?
breasts
Better
with
than
oil.
Candied ginger root, chopped peanuts, India chutney, chopped green
It's probably
pepper,
where you got all those
crisp
French wine
bacon broken into
recommendations.
small pieces,
Yep.
little pieces of salt codfish, grated coconut. You can use that canned dry coconut flakes on the market now, and chopped green onion.
That sounds like a lot, but the more you have, the more fun. A better show.
I knew you'd
Is he
been to
talking about the
Hollywood.
rosé?
Yes,
again?
of course I was. I directed Snow Mountain.
Snow Mountain, a love story?
No, a dessert for our Polynesian dinner. The
It's
base
a
is
hard
a
R
large
film.
cone of shaved ice. Make it early so it can set and stand firm. In the top, place a small metal cup. When it's time to bring this beautiful
Snow
icy
Mountain
mountain
Steve,
to the table,
as Hawaiian
put some
as
very strong
Hawaiian
rum,
punch.
just a
Yep,
little,
very
in the
authentic.
cup, and add pineapple or apricot juice. Along the sides of the chili mountain, pieces of fruit. Oranges, cherries, pineapples, strawberries, grapes, lots
And
of
other
things.
fruits
So
that
ice is
aren't
brilliant
grown in
with these
Hawaii.
Little fruit tidbits. Just before the
There
entrance,
goes with the tidbits
ignite the
again.
rum and fruit juice, and march in with your head high and your eyes sparkling.
I told you. Hollywood under the coconut palms.
With those long, thin bamboo sticks,
What does that
each
even
guest bears
mean?
a piece of fruit,
I think she
dumps it
sounds
in
a little
flaming
bitter.
sauce, and then eats it. Hear those sighs of happiness?
Yes. Now I know I simply must wear my grass
I'm happy.
skirt.
You'd look pretty under the soft light of Japanese lanterns. They shed a flattering glow over the table.
The snow mountain with its jewels of fruit will be beautiful in that light.
Bewitching. But I forgot to tell you how to make the mountain. Roll a large sheet of thin cardboard. to the
First
shape
you
of a
must get
cone,
igneous
about 10
rock.
inches high and 7 inches wide at the
Lots
base.
of mud.
Line it with wax paper or aluminum
You have to
foil.
wait millions
and
of
pack with
years for
finely shaved
tectonic
ice,
pressure to
press
build
in
between
hard.
two plates.
Stand in freezing compartment of the refrigerator.
Then get
for
some
a
ice
few
and some
hours.
rum.
When you are ready, it will slip out easily. Stand it on a flat plate and surround the base with green leaves and a few bright flowers.
What kind of flower did that woman wear in her hair?
A pink hibiscus, but actually not in her hair. She wore
I don't want to know.
She was one of the greatest cooks in Hawaii.
Did she wear a grass skirt, too?
Of course not. She was too fat.
But I'm not fat.
She wore long
After I
blades
get
of
the
grass.
cuckoos ready to serve, of
Get
course
it?
you
Because she's
promised to help
fat,
me.
so she needs longer
And the
blades.
chicken mommy
There'll be
really.
other
I'm
jokes,
going to
buddy.
put on a
Okay.
grass skirt and a bright green lei about my neck.
And when I have finished making the curry, and just before our guests arrive, do you know what I'm going to do?
Tell
We
me.
don't want to know.
I'm going to put a pink
We
hibiscus
really don't,
behind
Gaynor.
your lovely ear.
Hey everyone, this is Matt Craig, one of the three hosts of Two Noobs Talking. So, what is Two Noobs? Well, along with my best friends John Tracy and Steve Murray, our weekly podcast covers any topic, whether it's culture, science, sports, media, politics, entertainment. Nothing is off limits, but we approach each one of our topics from a unique 30,000-foot view. So where can you find us? Well, you can check us out on our YouTube channel located right here. Our episodes drop Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern. You can also find us on your favorite listening devices on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're findable. So what are you waiting for? Check us out. Join our conversation at Two Noobs Talking, Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern on YouTube.
This is a fun listen, Steve. I like this one.
Yeah, it was a little different. But, you know, I'm a little bit of a grammar nerd.
Uh-huh.
So some of the made-up words and mispronounced were like nails on the chalkboard. Like the poetical.
Yeah, prodigally was the one that got me.
Yes. And the checking the meat for doneness.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was about to go nuts.
Yeah. No, there's some really interesting things in here. I had no idea about, like, again, middle-class people being able to afford caviar and having apparently caviar so commonly available that it's in supermarkets.
And it's in different colors. It's red caviar.
Yeah, I know that there's red and black caviar. I don't know anything beyond that. I've never had caviar in my life.
Me either.
But the fact that they are so, like, it's so easily available that they're like, get caviar, but then they were said commercial sour cream. If you listen, she says commercial sour cream. Don't get consumer sour cream.
Like, I imagine, like, commercial sour cream being like in a big 5-gallon bucket.
Yeah, like 40 pounds of sour cream. Like, it tickles me to
Commercial
think of,
size.
Yeah, to imagine these scenarios. But okay, on the back of the record, on the rear of the cover, you will have.
You said rear.
I did. They have the sleeve, like they have the recipes for these. Now, the recipes are basically hilariously incomplete because they talk about like the steak dinner has hot and cold hors d'oeuvres, indoor charcoal broiled steak, which, by the way, I never heard any charcoal. They just set seasonings black and then threw it in there into the pan.
Yeah.
So the charcoal to me is a weird misnomer. North Carolina macaroni and cheese, fresh vegetable platter, tossed green salad, and then raspberries over lemon sherbet. All of that. And then they give you one recipe out of all of those. And the recipe is for mac and cheese. Mac and cheese, the one thing literally every person in
Every
America
American-
will eat.
And make.
Yes,
Knows how to make.
there are now entire restaurants devoted solely to
Right,
macaroni
to mac and cheese. Yeah.
And you want to know why? Because it's a great idea.
Right.
Macaroni and cheese is delicious.
Yeah, and when I was looking up some stuff, I know you and I were having a conversation about macaroni and cheese, like when it started.
Uh-huh.
And it actually started in the 1700s.
Yeah.
So it's older than our country.
Yeah. Yeah. Like 18th century, it was 1716, I think,
Yeah.
or 1760.
Right.
Like it was one of those was the first recorded macaroni and cheese recipe. And to what I say, God bless the world, because macaroni and cheese is a gift that all should know.
Right.
It is utterly delicious, and the fact that we have Robert Kraft, who, by the way, I do not like as an owner, but as a giver of macaroni and cheese, bless you, sir. It's so great. And if you're in Canada, what do they call it there, sir?
I don't know.
Kraft dinner.
Oh. Do they really?
Yeah,
Okay.
mac and cheese is Kraft dinner. Okay, you'll learn this by
Because it's his own brand or
no,
whatever.
Bare Naked Ladies in the song "If I Had $1 Million," they mention Kraft dinner in there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's
I'd probably eat it more.
yeah, that's exactly correct. That's what they're talking about. They're just talking about the Kraft macaroni and cheese. But it's amusing to me that out of all of the things that they tell you how to do, they just give you incomplete recipes, talk about 70% of everything you need, and leave 30% a bizarre mystery, but they give you the whole recipe for macaroni and cheese.
Yeah, it's like the old saying, a magician never gives away his secrets.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Right. But a cook should be giving instructions on how to replicate the thing. So, and the other thing that really gets me in this is the strange relationship to alcohol.
Yes, there's a lot of alcohol references, which
Well,
isn't horrible.
No, not at all. But like the amusing thing to me is that he talks about alcohol with a meal being a new thing.
Yeah.
Like being wine. And I'm looking back at the history of our country, and I'm thinking alcohol has been a gigantic part of the history of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that we had to create a brand new process when the temperance movement removed alcohol from the country.
Right.
And the country as a collective whole, a couple of years later, said this was a terrible decision. So, and so, Steve, I don't know if you know this, but from a historical perspective, there's only one amendment in the Constitution that repeals a prior amendment, and that's the 21st Amendment. And when they did that, it was the first and only time that they have ever created an amendment that removed something from the Constitution. All the other amendments add. The 21st Amendment, they had it, and they all kind of realized that the removing alcohol from the nation was a terrible idea.
Yes, it was.
Oh, they all agreed on this. But then they had the problem of how do we get alcohol back without destroying the Constitution?
The very foundation of our country.
Yes. And so they actually had a conference with legal scholars trying to figure out
Oh, wow.
how they could remove this one thing that they all agreed was bad without burning the rest of the house down.
It's kind of like playing a giant game of Jenga.
Yes.
It's like, if you got to remove that one block, but don't let it all fall, or we're all screwed.
That's a beautifully appropriate comparison here. And so they had a meeting, and they decided at the end, well, if we can change the Constitution with amendments, and amendments are the only thing that we can use to change the Constitution, then we have to issue a brand new amendment that removes the old amendment.
That's ridiculous.
And so
and silly.
basically, if you ever read the 21st Amendment, it basically just says, never mind.
Oops.
Yeah.
Ignore above.
Yeah, we didn't like that one,
Right.
so we're good.
Right. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again for joining us for an all-new season, and we'll have the other side of side 2 of planning the perfect dinner, and curious to hear what other kind of meals they're going to provide for us.
Yeah, there's going to be a chicken dinner in there. I know that. I enjoy the interaction between Dorothy and
Yes.
Gaynor very much.
Yeah, there's a lot of tension sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of history there with them.
Yeah,
I think.
it's, oh my gosh. Like, they are Like, if we could find more records with Dorothy and Gaynor.
Yeah, we'll have to research the internet. I'm sure they're out there somewhere.
Oh, well, we think, but we haven't found
Yeah,
anything
well,
yet.
look, I know.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening. And if you want to get in contact with us, as always, you can send us an email or through social media. You can email us at vinylwar22@gmail.com.
Yes, but be nice to us. My ego is very fragile.
It is.
Wait, what?
Ba-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.